right, wonderful people, lovers of freedom, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to each and every one of you. Welcome back to Let's Talk TV, your one and only YouTube platform, where they give you back-to-back updates on how things they be, on how things they shell for Biafra land and beyond. If you're joining us for the first time, remember to subscribe and turn on your notifications too. Also remember to like and share this broadcast as it is hot. Alright, the latest one we get for here, Nigerian military currently arresting Southeast residents, detains an outrageous number of Igbos in Niger State's Wawa barracks. Of course, my people, these people would be innocent Igbo people that have done absolutely nothing wrong. And of course, the zoo army are arresting them just because they are Igbos. Yes, this is coming from Barrister Ejiofor and reporting live. Okay, this is what he says. Ejiofor has said that enforced disappearance in the southeast region of Nigeria has become a harrowing crisis that politicians in the region, especially those who are currently campaigning for elections in the coming year, have continued to willfully ignore. He has lamented that hundreds of Southeast elderly parents, young men and women are allegedly regularly taken by Nigerian security forces, disappearing without a trace, noting that the relatives of the victims could no longer determine their status, whereabouts, or whether they are still alive. Maybe this is an act of looking for how they would make sure that we are not able to be able to, in fact, get more soldiers or get more people that would support the cause of the Biafra freedom. I feel like this is what they are doing. And of course, who people are doing this same thing? The zoo terrorists, the same people that we talk about, and you people think that it's a joke. Now, someone else, Ejiofor, is making it known to you. He said, Ejiofor said in a recent publication, he said, I raised the alarm over the shocking number of our people being abducted daily by state actors under the guise of combating rising insecurity in the southeast. Hundreds of our elderly parents, brothers and sisters are regularly taken by Nigerian security forces, disappearing without a trace. Our concern deepens with the increasing number of distress calls received daily from the families of some of these victims of enforced disappearance. It is especially troubling that the relatives of these victims can no longer determine their status, whereabouts, or even whether they are still alive. The reason for their arrest remains unknown, further compounding the agony for their families. Unfortunately, this alarming trend has not been met with the deserving public outcry and condemnation, particularly from those who claim to represent us in high political offices. Instead, a fraction of these officials, seemingly absorbed by the privileges of their position, are preoccupied with preparation for the next upcoming election. Now that the Amnesty International has stepped into to corroborate our concerns about these secret abductions and forced disappearances, we call on our political leaders across all levels to denounce the state actors responsible for this crime against humanity and demand an end to these grave infractions. We have also suggested in our various discussions that security agents have the capacity to identify their targets and apprehend the actual threats, yet they continue to target ostensibly innocent and harmless citizens. My people, we know how far in their own side, I'm talking about with this same set of people in their own land, how insecurity is being fueled on their own end. But no, that is not what they are focused on. They are focused on the Igbos, the Biafrans that are finding a way to be united, to go for the cause which would actually affect their life positively. And that is why they've decided to do what they're doing at the moment. Yes. We have also suggested in our various discussions that security agents have the capacity to identify. Yes, according to him, these innocent individuals are then transported to unknown locations where they may be either killed or indefinitely detained without any trace. While our military barracks in Niger State, for instance, is currently holding an outrageous high number of innocent Igbos who have been detained indefinitely with no hope of freedom in sight. I am urging the governors of the Southeast states to take immediate action and use the machinery of the governments to address this rising trend. Enough is enough. This is coming from them. We should already know that these Igbo people that we call the Southeast leaders are not even ready to do what they need to do. They are just people that are standing there ready to just follow whatever it is. I believe the people that would actually put work into this would be the Biafra Liberation Army that would actually do what they need to do, the needful that needs to be done on this case. And so that is what it is, my people. The next thing you will be hearing will be a PM talk, and I believe that it will benefit every single one of us concerning the Biafra movement. And so, my people, this is the time to listen to it. Thank you.
Of communication and the media team of the Biafra government in exile and de facto government in the homeland. Good evening, fellow Biafrans. I welcome all of you to this emergency State of the Union address of the Biafra Prime Minister, myself, Mazi Simon Ekpa Njoku. My fellow Biafrans, this is month of October 2024, and we are very close to our convention in Finland. The security of life and property of Biafra people will always be the most priority of the Biafra government. And we will continue to respond proactively in solving and resolving the issue of security, especially when our people and our land comes under serious threat. Nigeria, as a failed state, will continue to fail to protect those that call themselves Nigerian citizens. The call for Biafra self-determination through the secessionists of Biafra, or through the secession of Biafra, as Nigeria terrorist state fondly call it, is deeply rooted in historical grievances. The economic grievances and economic disparity and socio-political marginalization, and now with the renewed Islamic Usman Danfodio expansionists. Our struggle has become a struggle for survival of the Biafra people. For many decades, Biafrans, both those who have agitated in the past, Biafrans, for many of these agitators have argued that for leaving Nigeria is not just about identity, but today it has become about the survival, progress, and justice. My fellow Biafrans, in the early hour of today, the 1st October 2024, the Biafra Defense Forces has destroyed, neutralized the proposed facility that was built to house and train Boko Haram in a place called Ehimembano in Imo State, former Imo State. Any more of such facility will be destroyed by Biafra forces. We call on Biafrans to give credible information on any further project of the Nigeria terrorist state targeted at bringing in Boko Haram for training in Biafra land, or to be used to house fighters that the intention was to use against Biafra forces. Because the Nigeria terrorist army has been defeated, and all they do is to bring in fighters in whatever guise. Biafra land is not good for Chinese loan. The Biafra people were excluded during the time Nigeria state took loan from China. Our land and our people are not good to be part of the dividend of Chinese loan. Biafra land is not good for rail line, where every part of Nigeria, as they created it fraudulently today, has benefited from the rail line, except Biafra land. Biafra land is not good to have seaport, irrespective of the fact that the Gulf of Guinea is connected to the Biafra land. Biafra land is not good for the headquarters of many multinational corporations that came to Nigeria or Niger area to do business only and solely for the natural resources that is found in Biafra land. None of these multinational corporations has their head office or headquarters in Biafra land to create jobs for the Biafra people, indigenous people. Biafra land is therefore not good for IDP camp or in any name that will accommodate any terrorists from northern Nigeria or from any part of the world. Biafra land is not a dumping ground for terrorists. For that reason, the Biafra Defense Forces have destroyed the property and the facilities, and of course, anything that is connected to it will be destroyed in Biafra land. It is a message that we are sending out to the terrorist state to prove the capacity that Biafra government controls Biafra territory from exile, and of course, with the activities of the de facto government in the homeland. The responsiveness of the Biafra government has shown that the Biafra government take the security of lives and properties of our people, especially our women and children, very seriously. We have fought Nigeria terrorism for the past 3 years, secretly. And I wish one day the world will want to know what has happened in Biafra land from 2021 to this date. And we have been able to secure successfully the land of Biafra. It is only in Biafra land that our people are not living in IDP camp. Across Nigeria, every other region, people are living in IDP camp. Like they have come shambolically, claiming that people from the north will be moved to Biafra land, where Biafra forces and defense have been able to secure our land against the terrorism. We also have intel that the proposed movement of these people were actually in order to bring in Boko Haram fighters to Biafra land to fight against Biafra forces. My fellow Biafran, in Yoruba land, the Yorubas are taking refuge in neighboring country, Benin Republic, for insecurity by the Nigeria terrorism or Nigeria terrorist state in the name of the Islamic expansionist Usman Danfodio legacy. Many Yorubas are today living in Benin Republic. They left the ancestral land as they are looking for a safe place to stay. The people that have chased them out of the ancestral land are Fulanis. They call them Fulani herdsmen. They have occupied Yoruba land, and today many of them have left their land and they are not secured in their own land. Biafra land will not be the same. Biafra will continue to respond to Nigeria terrorism plan and tactics very ruthlessly in defense of our land. While Nigeria terrorist state have openly supported Palestine independence and continue to financially support terrorism against Israel, the Biafra people will continue to stand with Israel, and at the same time, we are not against those agitating for independence of South Palestine or for self-determination. But we are strongly against the terrorism against Israel and against the state of Israel. Nigeria always go to the United Nations General Assembly to advocate for the freedom and self-determination of Palestine And these are people who have not fixed their own problem in Niger area. Today, we will do worse than what the Palestinians have done, if that is what will make the world to listen to us. Palestine have not lost 3 million children. We did. We lost 3 million children from 1967 to 1970. Palestine have not lost what Biafra lost. Palestine do not have what Biafra have. We power Nigeria's economy from our natural resources. What do we get in return? Marginalization, killing, pogroms, and what have you. On this note, just for the latecomers who have not followed the event of Nigeria and Biafra for a very long time, I want the Biafra media to play the representation and advocating of the independence of Palestine by the former president of Nigeria in the name of Muhammadu Buhari, because I have come across many people commenting on social media and they were outraged about the current vice president, who is, by the way, the founder of Boko Haram, advocating for independent state of Palestine. I would like the media team to play that, as on that particular rock, I will build my church today. Media team, over to you, please.
As we engage in these annual debates, we need to remind ourselves of the principles that led to the founding of the United Nations. Among those are peaceful coexistence and self-determination of peoples. In this context, Mr. President, the unresolved question of self-determination for the Palestinian people and those of Western Sahara, both nations having been adjudged by the United Nations as qualifying for this inalienable right, must now be assured and fulfilled without any further delay or obstacle. The international community has come to pin its hopes on resolving the Palestinian issue through the two has no more excuses or reasons to delay the implementation of the long list of Security Council resolutions on this question. Neither do we have the moral right to deny any people their freedom or condemn them indefinitely to occupation and blockade. Mr. President, delegates of member countries, United Nations is 70 years old. It can
Thank you very much. I would also like to have the latest video from the United Nations General Assembly of the current Vice President of Nigeria, who was the founder of Boko Haram. Thank you very much.
Today, we are all witnesses to the heart-wrenching situation in Gaza and other Palestinian territories. We cannot discuss war and peace, conflicts and resolution, or humanitarian imperatives today without reflecting on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that has been raging since 7th August last year. Of course, the conflict predates this period and has been simmering for a better part of half a century. What it tells us is that the international community has failed to live up to the spirit and aspirations of the United Nations to rid the world of inequality, violence, and domination of one people by another. Justice is antithetical to revenge. Freedom is an inalienable right and a natural entitlement that cannot be denied to any people. The Palestinian people deserve their independence. They deserve to have a home of their own in territories already recognized by this very assembly and by international law, which is being routinely ignored. Nigeria continues to urge efforts to bring back on track the two-state solution that offers the prospect for a new beginning for the region. Nigeria reaffirms to supporting United Nations peacekeeping operations. We recognize the need for Africa to build strong and professional armies to meet the multiple challenges we face. Consequently, we reiterate the call for international support to operationalize the African standby force, in addition to the provision of requisite support and resources to ensure the upgrade, take-up, and effectiveness of a center of excellence on issues of counterterrorism in Africa. Mr. President, reform of the Security Council is critical if the UN is to strengthen its relevance and credibility in our rapidly changing world. Some permanent members of the United Nations Security Council have offered encouraging, if tentative, indications of support on the issue of reform.
Thank you very much. My fellow Biafrans and listeners from across the world, with the clip you just listened to, the last one is the current Vice President of Nigeria, who is the founder of Boko Haram. The first video you listened to was the former President of Nigeria, who also was one of the Islamic pillar, fundamentalism pillar in Nigeria and in Africa. Nigeria with this has demonstrated to be enemy of America and enemy of the West. While the Biafra will continue to support the state of Israel, have you seen that this is a black and white that can never mix together? Nigeria have advocated for the independent state of Palestine, which we are not against as a people looking for freedom. But what we are against is terrorism against the state of Israel. And the 7th of October attack, terrorism attack against Israel, Biafra people continue to condemn that terrorist attack. Nigeria, having advocated in 2024 for the independent state of Palestine, should be bold enough to also accept the outcome of the Biafra self-referendum in peace or in pieces. I want you all to understand that Nigeria can never be trusted. America can never trust Nigeria. The West can never trust Nigeria. Nigeria remains an Islamic fundamentalist country that all the agenda is to support anything anti-West and anti-America. It does not matter how they pretend with you today, they will end up becoming your worst enemy. The earlier the world, the Western world and America accept the state of Biafra as only true allies in the West Africa, the better for them. Examples are many. I will use Iraq. I can also use Afghanistan. After 23 years, America pumped billions of dollars into Afghanistan. Today, Taliban are completely in charge of American weapons that America struggled for 23 years to stabilize that country. Nigeria will do worse than Afghanistan if Biafra is not supported. There are several compelling reasons why as many as 50 million Biafrans who voted in the ongoing Biafra self-referendum use their vote to advocate for independence of Biafra. The reasons are very numerous. And I will take it one at a time. From the historical injustices against Biafra people, the Nigeria genocidal war against Biafra from 1967 to 1970, also known as the Biafra War, was a brutal chapter in Nigeria history. The eastern region known as Biafra, declared independence as the Republic of Biafra after enduring many years of systematic marginalization and violent pogroms in the northern Nigeria and other parts of Nigeria. The war resulted in an estimated 1 to 3 million deaths, children, primarily from starvation due to the blockade imposed by the Nigeria terrorist government. This tragic history has left deep scars in millions of Biafrans and, of course, in Biafra consciousness, especially when the post-war reconciliation was superficial and incomplete, with the IRRR. The continuous reference of the Biafra War serves as a painful reminder that the Biafra people were once persecuted and betrayed by a country that was supposed to protect them. That betrayal has tripled today after over 50 years. We have seen the killings of Biafrans and destruction of their businesses across Nigeria, not just in the northern Nigeria today, but also in the southwest Yoruba land. In Lagos, to be precise, we saw pogroms against Biafrans in Lagos after 2023 election. And I will take it on the economic exploitation. As Nigeria celebrates their false, failed independence, the division of Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones without the consent of the people was an injustice taken too far that have cut the wound of the war even deeper than as we thought. The eastern region, which is supposed to be called Southeasterner or Southeast region, in accordance with the geography, today it is called the Southeast instead of the Southern region. They manipulated the geography, manipulated the demography in order to fight the freedom and suppress and subjugate Biafra people not to rise up. The region which would form the heart of modern Biafra is rich in natural resources, particularly oil. Despite this wealth, the artificial and the fake Southeast feel disappropriately excluded from the economic and political benefit of their own land. The so-called Niger Delta, which majority falls within the Biafra, the proposed Biafra borders of today, generate a significant portion of Nigeria wealth through crude oil. Yet, that region remains underdeveloped, suffering from poor infrastructure, environmental degradation, and poverty. Yet, they are faced with Nigeria terrorist army bombardment, like the recent killing in the Biafra Okoma community in Delta. The argument for Biafra is also an economic one. The resources of the Biafra people are being siphoned to enrich a far distant federal government in Abuja, while the region remains underdeveloped. That is coming to an end with the declaration of the restoration of independent state of Biafra, coming this year, 2024. My fellow Biafrans, we also suffered what I call the political marginalization within the Nigeria state. since the end of the Biafra war, Biafra people have constantly been sidelined from the Nigeria political landscape, despite being one of the three largest ethnic groups. No Igbo-speaking Biafra person has held the presidency since 1983. Key government positions, security appointments,
Sabo,
and the military leadership role
this idiot,
are
working with Ifan. When I
disproportionately
exposed him
skewed
in the year
in
2021,
favor
I told you that
of the
he
northern
is the
Hausa,
Ifan
Fulani, and
campaign
Western Yoruba
manager.
elements.
I don't know
Many
if
Igbo-speaking
let me just do
Biafrans